Hey Brad, built-ins. You ever do built-ins? I need some built-ins built. I've been hearing a lot about built-ins lately, and so I'm gonna build a set of built-ins. I'm Brad, this is DIY Wouldn't You. I had somebody reach out to me recently. They just bought a house. The fireplace is on a 45-degree angle in the corner of the room where two walls meet. There were no standard built-ins to be put on either side of the fireplace. And so she reached out and asked if I would build her some. The fireplace and the mantle do not go all the way to the corner. They stop short. So what I'm gonna do is run two built-in cabinets from the corner where the 45-degree wall meets the square walls out the same distance on both sides. Now one side is limited by a door casing. The other side I'm gonna run the same distance. Here is the build. As you can see, it is 45 on one side over here. It's got cabinet doors on the bottom with an adjustable shelf in the middle, and then it's got 3 shelves above. Probably this one will be stationary to give this piece some rigidity and some strength, and these two will be adjustable. So I'm gonna be building all this out of sanded whitewood plywood, 1x2s and 1x3s, and some crown molding up top. And just like the hall tree that I did recently, I'm gonna cut the quarter round and the baseboard out and flush these up against the wall and caulk the edge of them. Now my setup here is probably make fun worthy, but don't make fun of me. I'm at a remote location and the power is not yet turned on here, but I want to go ahead and use this space. I don't want to take up my wife's parking spot in the garage any longer. Thank you. So I will be using my table saw as a workbench to cut the pieces with my circular saw. Till I can get a generator or get the power cut on over here. I'm going to leave a link in the video description to the drawings for this built-in in case anybody wants to build one themselves. How you like that? Being that I don't make built-ins very often, there was something that didn't look quite right with how I had it designed. I made a little change. Let me show you what it is. So there was something about the bottom of this that just didn't look quite right. And I think what it was that this side and this side were just smooth. And so I have changed this side and this side over here to look like panels, like the doors. And I think that makes it look more like a purpose-built built-in than just the smooth sides there. I think that that's what it was missing.
Now it's time to glue up the face frame for these cabinets. I'm using a pocket hole jig to attach these pieces together. I'll put a link in the description for that pocket hole jig. I'm going to be gluing the edges and then clamping these pieces together. And I'm using 1¼ long pocket hole screws so that they don't pop through the other side when I'm screwing these together.
There is what the shape of the base of the cabinet is going to be. Now, if my calculations are correct, from the outside corner here to the outside corner here should measure right at 43.5. Could possibly be how I've got this clamped here. I'm going to go ahead and glue it and space this out where it needs to be. And and hopefully we can get that 43.5-inch dimension.
This piece of plywood is the bottom panel for the inside of this lower cabinet. I didn't film this part, but I clamped both of the lower cabinet frames together to hold that 43.5-inch width dimension.
Just a quick rundown on the paneling that's going to be on this, or the sides, I guess. There's going to be 2 doors on the front face here, and then on the sides, I've done a recessed panel look to kind of match the look of the doors on the front, just to break up the smoothness of the sides a little bit. And so I'm going to put a piece of 1/2-inch plywood on the inside here, and then on the inside of the 45-degree sides as well. The bottom panel, I'm recessing down from the lip here, about a 1/16, maybe a little bit more. And then on the top, the panel is going to be the exact size of the top with a piece of 1x2 as kind of a bull nose around the edge there.
The next step is to put the adjustable shelf pin holes in. So I'm marking here the height that I want. I'm going to center this up with the height of this base cabinet. And then I'll use this Craig shelf pin hole jig. I'll put the link to this in the video description. This is the back panel of the base cabinet, and there are outlets on the wall, so I'm cutting holes out for clearance around these outlets.
Well, as you can see, the nails shoot too far and it came out.
So I'm going to go to the hardware store and get some 1-inch finished nails rather than these 1 1/4s that are clearly too long. I marked across the back here where the bottom board is. In nailing in at an angle here, the nail gun couldn't shoot the nails in quite far enough, so I'm having to go along with a punch and knock them all the way down. And then go over and putty all the nail holes. This is the bull nose that I was talking about around the top edge to give it a nice clean look.
Base 1, base 2. Got the tops and the shelf. The top is not fixed though, so let's fix the top of it. Here at DIY Wouldn't You, we want to inspire and educate. We want to make projects entertaining and encourage you to try something fun, learn something new, and impress yourself and your friends. We want to remind you that just because you haven't done something, it doesn't mean you can't. So keep learning, keep building, keep DIYing. Also, this video, just like many of our others, isn't sponsored by anyone, so if you're enjoying it, please give it a thumbs up. Also, maybe consider subscribing to the channel. I'd love to see you back. We just started a new series. We bought an early 1900s farmhouse, and we're renovating it, turning it into an Airbnb, or a short-term rental. So the first 2 episodes of that are out. You can find those here. Anyway, let's get back to the project. Sorry that the lighting in here is terrible, but we've got both of the base cabinets built. Now it's time to build the uppers. What those consist of is 1/2-inch plywood for the back and the straight side, and then 1x3 verticals, framing out here, here, and then opening here, and those are trimmed out with crown mold at the top. So we're gonna need 4 pieces of 1x3 cut 58 inches tall, and the upper cabinet's gonna be inset 2 inches from the edges.
Four of these pieces get cut with a 22.5 degree angle on the edge. There are also 2 pieces with the edge cut at 45 degrees, and I'll show you those in just a minute.
All right, let me show you what that's gonna look like. Like that, all the way up to the daggum ceiling. Like I said, the middle shelf is going to be fixed. I've got it cut to size, and so I'm going to fit it underneath here, glue it, and nail it through from the front. There is going to be a piece of 1/2 inch plywood on the back, so I need to get a piece of 1/2 inch and actually space it up. Gracious, that was hard by myself. Dang. The ceiling in this room is actually less than 8 feet tall, and so this doesn't fit with the trim on top, but this is looking really good. Before I make the 2 adjustable shelves, I'm going to go ahead and at the bottom here where the top assembly sits on the bottom assembly, drill my holes and go ahead and attach this structure so that it's where it's actually going to be when it's built. Because right now this doesn't line up by about 1/4 of an inch. This foot and this foot are in place, but this one needs to come out a little bit. The way I'm going to drill this so that I make sure and hit dead in the center of these pieces of structure is I've marked my pieces here, and so I'm going to drill through from the top first and then put this piece back in place and drill through from the bottom and run my screws in that way. Okay, this is a little bit different. On this back here, this piece is so close to the back that I actually went in with my countersink drill bit and drilled into this back face. And because I didn't have the right length screw, one was too short and one was too long and came through the other side, I took a 2-inch screw and cut the end off. Desperate times, you know. That right there will work. All right, now let's make these adjustable shelves, the top panel and the back panel. For this back panel, I cut it 57 1/4 tall from the top of the base cabinet to the bottom of the top board. And then on the side over here, I had to actually taper cut it because it's about a 1/16 of an inch difference from top to bottom. I bevel cut this side. It should theoretically be flush with the back here, sit just on top of here, and just under that 3/4 inch piece at the top. My goodness. I'm honestly not sure that it could fit much better than that.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Marking lines across here so that I can hit that 3/4 inch shelf in the middle with nails. I did so good. I did so good with most of the nails. And one popped out. Moment of truth. Something that I totally spaced on just now was that I needed shelf pins in this back panel, and I should have drilled those before I put the panel on because it would have been a lot easier as far as measuring, marking, clamping, and drilling. Now I'm tasked with lining this up, drilling these without being able to really clamp these in place. I know for next time.
Putting the crown molding around the top. As you can see here, this side has a 45 edge on the leading corner. This piece has a 45 edge on this corner. Now my camera died in the meantime, but the edges over where you see my dad, the corners are mitered at 22.5 degrees and 45 degrees. Now I use this veneer edge banding to go around the edge of the shelves to make it look smooth and to cover up the layers of the plywood. This stuff's super easy to install. You just iron it on with a clothes iron, and the company that makes it, Bandit, actually makes this little trimming tool as well that works really nicely. There's one shelf. Now to do the other 5. Now I'm puttying imperfections in the shelves and then moving on to primer. I'm going to be using Kills number 2. 2 coats on everything and then 2 coats of paint. Oh yeah, also, I did sand before I primed and painted, FYI. I just didn't want to show it because, well, Next, I caulked everything. Somebody told me one time that the key to a good caulking job is to make it look like you did not caulk. Basically, leave barely any on there. Something that I like doing is brushing the paint on and then coming back behind with a high-density foam roller to smooth it out. It's a good alternative for spraying.
Alright, my dad is doing a great job on painting these. As you can see, it's already finished a couple, but still that's okay. We get to watch him paint this one.
I'm going to be using this Valspar cabinet and furniture paint, and I'm just going with ultra white because this is going to be painted to match the trim that's in this house. This video is not sponsored by Valspar. However, Valspar, if you're interested in sponsoring one of our videos, my email is in the description below. This is an oil-enriched enamel. I'm not sure exactly what that means. I talked to a buddy of mine that's a painter, and he said basically it is formulated to be washable with soap and water, and it's also formulated to be like an oil-based cabinet-grade paint, where it's a longer setup time, but it hardens substantially harder than an oil-based paint, gives you a very durable, very cleanable finish. I have used this paint before in a different finish, and it turned out really nice, and so I'm excited to try this in satin and ultra white on these cabinets.
Ooh, look how smooth!
Well, after one full day of painting, I believe that the cabinets are done as far as painting. That took entirely too long, in my opinion, but it's about right, I guess. So now all that's left is the install. Tomorrow, day 10 of a 7-day build.
At this point, I'm having to climb up and trim the crown molding just a little bit, about 1/4 of an inch, where it rounds into the corner. Next, we checked for studs. It ended up being a little bit difficult, so we pulled the cabinet out and checked on the wall and then measured to where the studs were on the cabinet. We used 4 screws to hold the upper cabinet in place. We hid the top 2 behind the top adjustable shelf. And then we put 4 screws in the base cabinet below as well. Finally, I attached the quarter round around the bottom. I puttied the nail holes. I caulked all my edges and the screw holes on the inside. I drilled a hole here for wiring up to the TV from the cable box. Installing the second cabinet is just the same as installing the first one. However, the second one has a little notch in the corner that has to be removed to fit around the door casing. I did that on purpose because I wanted this cabinet to be as wide as possible, and it gives it a really clean look. The last thing to do before installing the cabinet doors, which at this point in the project are not here yet, is to caulk the edges and touch-up paint around the quarter round where we put the screws in, around this switch, and a couple little spots where we could tell that the paint was just a little bit thin.
These cabinet doors I ordered online from thecabinetdoorstore.com. I'll put a link to their store in the description. What I went with on these was shaker style to match their kitchen cabinets with maple on the outside and MDF on the inside. I would have gone with real wood on the inside, but I'm painting it So it's going to be protected and you're not going to see it. And I know the paint will lay down smooth on MDF, so no worries there. From what I've seen, you're not going to have really warping or anything with the MDF. And they were actually pretty affordable. I'm going to get 2 coats of paint on both sides of these and go put them on the cabinets. I ordered the cabinet doors originally from another cabinet door supplier that I've ordered from before. And if I'm reading the signs right, I believe that company went out of business. I hate it for them. I wish them the best. It would have been nice had they let everyone know. Here we are. Time out for just a second. I know I said that I was going to do 2 coats of paint on this. However, for whatever reason, I did not prime these cabinet doors, even though I primed the rest of the built-ins. So I ended up going with 3 coats of paint on this just to get a nice, smooth, even finish all over these doors. Anyway.
I'm using this Craig hidden hinge hole jig to drill my holes for this cabinet door. It makes it so clean and easy that I can't even imagine drilling these holes without this jig. I'll put the link to it in the video description.
We installed these cabinets in the fall, beginning of the fall, actually, into the summer. And took long enough to get these cabinet doors in that it's now the week before Christmas, so that's cool. I'm gonna put the door in place, mark the holes here, and then pre-drill and screw this door in. Pretty nice, soft close. Now let's hope that the other one fits and they line up like they're supposed to, please. Moment of truth, let's see how they close. Oh my, I love it. A little tuning and those fit, I'm talking about perfect. Let's put the handles on, let's put some little rubber bumpers on. In attaching these handles, I have matched the brushed nickel holes that they've got in their kitchen, so I'm gonna match the location on the cabinets as well. Looks like they're about 1 inch from the top of the cabinet here. Here's the built-ins complete. I am super happy with how these turned out. I'm super happy that it's Christmas time, and so these gifts on the floor accent them even nicer than normal. Katie, I hope that these cabinets are great to you and last you a very long time. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more fun projects that we're working on, subscribe to the channel. We'd love to see you back. If you want to be the first to know when we post another video, hit the notification bell. I'm Brad, this is DIY Woodn't You. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.